Welcome to the Coloring Book Creator Podcast, episode 39. And in this episode, I'm sharing the recording from a live session that I do exclusively for members of my free Facebook group, the Coloring Book Creator Club. I'll put the link in the show notes if you'd like to check it out. Now, at the time I'm recording, we have just shy of 550 members in the club. And something that I just launched recently is a weekly live stream that I do exclusively for members of the group, where I'll pick a topic and I'll share tips, ideas, strategies, and sometimes I do some coaching for live attendees. Now, this is something that I'm experimenting with and something that I actually highly recommend you do if you have a Facebook group or any active social media profile where you want to consider adding something like this. This is a great opportunity to create a live touch-based experience where you get to engage back with your followers. It's also a great opportunity for creating connection, getting to know your followers better, and they you. And an awesome opportunity to pitch your books or other offers like classes, workshops, even products that you have on your Etsy store if you have one. So again, the audio you're about to listen to is a recording from our last live session where I talked about why having a clear identity impacts your sales, which was inspired by a recent 3-day boot camp I just wrapped called Profitable Pages, where I worked with a small group of author creators to support them in developing a plan to create their first 1K in 30 days with coloring books, planners, and journals. Now, if you're interested in getting the recordings and bonus content from that bootcamp, it's available at a link here in the show notes. At the time I'm recording, the bootcampers also were given the option to upgrade to VIP. That would give you access to a new bonus workshop I'm creating called Facebook Ads for Creative Entrepreneurs Kickstarter. Now, this workshop is perfect for you if you've been thinking about trying ads, but they intimidate you. And for a limited time, in addition to the bootcamp training, I'm actually going to write your ad copy for you and design the graphic for your ad. Now, again, this is only for the first 10 people that sign up for this ads workshop. And if this interests you, I highly recommend that you take advantage of this opportunity. Again, it's only $33, and you'll get the replays for everything, the bootcamp, the ads workshop, and all. So it's a really great opportunity. It's sort of like my Black Friday offer that I'm doing for my Coloring Book Creator podcast listeners. Alrighty, so moving right on to the replay of my last live session, why having a clear identity impacts your sales. Enjoy. I got an idea for this one from a 3-day boot camp that I just ran called Profitable Pages. I'll just say pleasantly surprised and very happy as a result of some of the responses and things that came out of the training that I felt as I was doing it. I already knew I wanted to do this week's live session about what we did on day one. And what we did was we talked about how to really get clear about who we are as the author creator. That was day one. And I felt that that was really essential because in my previous trainings that I've done, I talked a lot about the book idea. And I still have a training, a free training actually around that about validating the book idea. That's the cornerstone of how I got started with the Coloring Book Creator program. And so I will always tell people, if you're still not sure about that idea, that's a good train to go to. But I've noticed over the last year, plus since I started that program, that I felt like there's a piece missing. While the book idea is great, coming up with a good book idea is great, but there's a piece missing. One of the things I always say, if you're a part of any of the programs I've ever done or taught, is I talk constantly about getting in front of the book. As the creator of the book, getting in front of the book. And what I mean by that is you as the author creator, you are the one selling the book. Amazon isn't selling your book. Etsy isn't selling your book. Your website per se isn't selling your book. That's where the transaction happens. That's where people can click on the add to cart button and make the purchase, or they can read to learn more about it and so on and so forth. But that's not who sells the book. You do as the author creator. So with that understanding, I felt that the piece that was missing was the author creator. And with that said, I have found in my experience is that there is a bit of a, what I would maybe classify, and the word I'm going to use here, I'm sort of picking strategically, but the quote unquote author creator, more specifically, the identity of that individual is missing. The book, the topic of the book, the design of the book, the layout of the book, all of those aspects of it are valuable. And of course, that's what a person who is maybe not with you in person sees. And that's where they'll make their purchasing decision because you're not always there. But even if you're on a platform like Amazon, Etsy, or your own website or whatever, someone has to alert a potential customer to where that book lives. Yes, someone can go into Google search and maybe find your book and then find it that way, of course. Someone can go on Amazon and do a search or whatever and find you, or Etsy and find you, of course, of course. But in the beginning stages, when you're first getting going, typically speaking, you might get found, but typically with any person that's starting a business online, it's up to us as in this context, the author creator, to direct someone to where the book is available to purchase, no matter where it is, Amazon, Etsy, your website, or what have you. And so that comes down to us as the creator, author creator in this context. And what I'm sort of picking up on in my experience is that there's a tendency as the author creator to really not do as much as could be done to create interest, drive awareness, and of course, direct people to where our creations live. And ultimately, always SEO, there's keywords, there's all of those things. But ultimately, the number one traffic driver is us as the author creator. And it's pretty much a well understood fact that most creatives, i.e., artists, no matter what the genre, whether it's painting, photography, whatever it is, tends to want to let the product that we're selling be front facing. And that we as the creator take a back seat. That may have been fine 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever the case may be, even maybe 20 years ago, of course. But now, especially in the age of personal branding, and I've been reading a lot and watching a lot of YouTube videos. I just actually listened to a really great video with this entrepreneur. She's been around forever, had a really great conversation about personal branding and what personal branding actually means. But in the age and the time in which we're living, where there's so much quote unquote transparency, most of the transparency that we see, I shouldn't say most, but I would say a good percentage of it is manufactured. And I think it's all manufactured to a certain extent. But I think more so, I think it's more manufactured and what I'd like to use the word choreographed more than anything else. So anyway, in this interview with this particular entrepreneur that I was listening to on YouTube, she was saying that she owes her success and her sales and the growth of her business to the fact that she has made it her position to become a trusted authority in her particular niche. Her brand is the fact that she recommends things, not necessarily always her own products or services, that she honestly believes her audience would enjoy. She's taken the stance to be that spokesperson or that concierge, and she's not paid by these people, although she is very much in a position where she could get major brand deals and make easily, and I kid you not, she could easily make millions of dollars. That's the level in which she plays right now. But she doesn't do it for that purpose. She doesn't do it to get paid by these companies that would easily and gladly pay her for endorsing their products. She does it because she genuinely believes in the products that she personally uses, and then she recommends them to her followers, just like a trusted friend. Just like, you got a really good friend or a family member that may ask you a question about something, and you say, oh, try this or use this or what have you. And that really stuck with me because I feel like for us, and it really solidified what I've been talking about with the mentees in my Coloring Book Creator Mentor program. It's a perfect example of getting in front. Now, this particular entrepreneur sells coaching around Instagram and entrepreneurship, but she recommends all kinds of products that she has no affiliation with. Like I say, she's not paid by these people. But because she has invested so much of her energy and so much of her time in developing that relationship with the people who follow her, building that relationship, building that trust, building that connection, that it's like almost like an afterthought. Well, of course I'll buy your program. Of course I'll support you with this because I trust you. And so it's brought home what I talked about on day one of the Profitable Pages Bootcamp about unleashing your inner creator. In the past, I focused on the book and what the book idea was going to be and all of that, leading into if you wanted my support in helping you to put the book together. Now, in this new season that the business is moving into, I really want to focus on the inner creator because it's really, again, bringing it all back full circle. If you are not the person, that trusted authority, that person, and not an authority in the respect that, you're telling people everything about what to do and all of that kind of thing, but the fact that you own your subject, you own that your expertise around it, you're always educating yourself, you're a voracious student of your subject. And as a result of being a voracious student of your subject, of course, you know about the newest and the latest and the greatest things. And you're always talking about that and talking about those things, and you're always sharing those things. And it's that personality that you have, but coming from a place of wanting to genuinely care about the people who are following you. And your personal brand really is you. I mean, in the truest sense of the word, it is you. It's not what you're selling per se. It really truly is you. I'm going to go so far as to say it because I really got this yesterday, especially from this YouTube video. I'll put the link to it in the show notes of the podcast. I'm going to actually produce it as a podcast episode as well as a live stream in the Facebook group. So anyway, what I really got was, if we really want people to do business with us, people really need to know who they're doing business with. They need to see us. They need to connect to us. It really brings home what I've been saying for well over a year since I started all of this, actually even before that, is that we are the face. We are the face. We are the voice. And we've got to be willing to get in front from a place of sharing, connecting, being helpful, being a resource. It's one of the reasons why I have the podcast. It's one of the reasons why I started doing these lives inside of the Facebook group. Because even though right now I'm not on camera in this moment, but I want you to connect to me and not just what I offer to invest in, in my business services or products and what have you. So anyway, and I'll wrap it up talking about this particular individual on the personal branding tip. One of the things that she said is that your brand, a lot of people, first of all, I want to talk about this really briefly. and I'm going to do more discussions about this in near future. A lot of people, when we hear the word branding, at least I do, when I hear the word branding, I immediately think of the visuals. I think of colors. I think of fonts. I think of that kind of thing. That's all well and good and fine, but that's not your brand. And I really got that. That's not your brand. Your brand is the things that are important to you, the things that you are passionate about, the things that you talk about, the things that you believe in, the things that you don't like, the things that you are against. We live in a world right now where I don't need to mention any particular names, but we live in a very polarizing world right now where certain people think a certain kind of way about this and another group thinks a certain kind of way about that. And we're all looking for like-minded people. And so when we're looking for leaders, in a sense, that mirror back to us what we think, what we believe in, what we feel. Now, without getting political, which I'm not going there at all, it doesn't have to be about politics unless you choose it to be. But I said to all of my boot camper attendees was, what is it that you believe in? Because that's going to really impact what you talk about. And that was just one of the things. So what you're seeing on the screen here right now, since you're watching this visually on the in the live stream on the Facebook group, is the worksheet that I put together for the boot camper attendees. If you'd like to get access to the 3-day training I did, plus this worksheet and all of the other things I'll discuss a little bit more later, there is a way for you to get that. It is an investment. It's not free. It is an investment. And I'll talk about that more in a moment. But I think it's a really good deal. And I feel like if you're resonating with what I'm saying, I think it'll be a good deal for you. I'm just going to kind of synopsis it up really quickly. So one of the things that I had my boot camper attendees do was what I call a power of 3 exercise. And it's basically, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think it's 6 questions. And I just ask them to list their 3 top skills, something that they do well, that comes easily to them, perhaps something that they've been paid to do, but maybe it's not necessarily their passion, but it's a skill that they have. Could be something in their job that they do or what have you. Then the next is the top 3 gifts. Now, a gift versus a skill, and sometimes the thing that you're gifted at is also your skill and it's also what you're paid for. And if that's the case, congratulations, bravo, I think that's wonderful. But sometimes our gift is something that we do that comes naturally to us that we're not necessarily paid for, okay? But it's something that you do naturally, and I would go so far as to say it's something that you could easily say you would do even without ever being paid for it. It's something that comes naturally to you. It's something that people actually tell you all the time, you should do this, or why aren't you doing this more, whatever the scenario may be. Okay. The next one is 3 people online that you admire and why. Could be individuals, groups, clubs, forums. 3 people you admire offline. It could be local businesses, community groups, the pastor at your church, schools, organizations, outreach programs, what have you. It could be family members. It doesn't, it's up to you. But there's a reason why I'm asking these questions. Then list 3 ideas that captured your attention and why. Whatever. It can be commercial that you saw. It could be an idea that you heard on a YouTube channel or in a movie or a book that you read or someone said in passing, or it could be a billboard, it could be whatever, but just 3 ideas that captured your attention. And why did it capture your attention? Okay. And then the next one was 3 ways you hold yourself back. Now, that one was a really powerful question to ask because a lot of times we don't even realize why we hold ourselves back. We just know that there's some point where if we're moving into something that we really want to do, or we think we really want to do, but there's a point where we start to pull back and start to resist. What is that about? And I'm just sharing the questions with you just to have you ponder them on your own. But again, like I said, if you want the more in-depth part of how I worked with the bootcamp members, I recommend getting the recordings of the bootcamp. Then I moved into the focus of this particular live stream and what we're talking about here with identity. I believe this to the core of my being, that success or failure in life is all rooted in our identity. It's how we feel about ourselves. It's not just what we say about ourselves, it's how we feel about ourselves. Because how we feel about ourselves impacts what actions we take and what actions we don't take. How we feel about ourselves impacts what projects we pursue and which ones we don't. How we feel about ourselves directly impacts how people respond to us. And what I have found in the context of what I do with helping creators become authors with their first books is there's a tendency not to necessarily own that identity of being just that, an author creator. And tying this back to the focus or the topic of this conversation around branding, personal branding, again, we are our brand. It's not a font, it's not a color, that can be a part of it, but that's not a brand. The brand is who we are, how we show up, what we talk about, what we believe in, who we connect to, even the things about us that we don't necessarily feel proud of. Sometimes the things that we're the most unproud of are the things that bonds us to other people. So again, by getting clarity around these things, you begin to understand more about what you like, what you don't like, who you are, how you respond in the world. But the number one thing that I wanted all of the students to get clarity about is acknowledging who they are as it relates to the book they've created, if they've created their book or the forthcoming book that they're going to create. And I had an exercise I'm going to share with you here in the live stream, is crafting what I call an identity statement. And the identity statement is essentially like a little script, very short, that is introducing yourself by name and as the author of the name of your book, or the author of the forthcoming book if your book is not done, and a little salutation just to wrap up the statement. And then the exercise was to post that statement on your personal Facebook page, in a Facebook group that you're in, either your own or someone else's, if it's okay to do that. But to put, or your business page, or put it on Instagram or wherever you're active on social media, but actually post that statement. So I'll read mine out loud so you can get the verbiage of the exercise I give everyone to do. My identity statement is, my name is Rodney Washington, and I am the author of Never Too Late to Make It Happen. That was my first book I created. I'm posting this announcement because I'm really proud of my first coloring book, and I just want to share with my community. Then I could add on to that if I want to. Thank you in advance for your support. That's the statement in a nutshell. And then there was another iteration of it, basically saying that I'm announcing the book as if I'm going to do it. It's like, because it's not necessarily done yet. So you can say the author of the forthcoming book. All right. But it's a very short statement. Now, to really step up this exercise, if your book is published, I recommend having your book in your hand, if you have a copy of it in your hand, and having a photograph of yourself taken with you with the book, either in your hand, or it can be the book on a table or somewhere next to you, but it has to be you, preferably you, visually with the book, and then posting it with this statement. Okay. One of the bootcamp attendees, Christine I'll just say first name, I won't say the full name. Christine's book, recently new published book. She did this actual exercise, posted it on her personal Facebook page, profile page. And at last I checked, she's gotten 90 comments on that post. People in her circle had no idea she had done a book. No one knew about it. She didn't tell anyone, the people she didn't know about it. There were links in there for people to go buy the book. I'm sure she sold copies of the book. I know she sold copies of the book. And it's such a simple exercise. But I will tell you something. It is in the owning of the identity of being this person, this author of this book. You are the author, creator of this book. And you are showing yourself with your book in your hand. I say this constantly. The world, for the most part, respects books and respects authors. And a coloring book, journal planner, whatever, written book, children's coloring book, no matter what book it is, the act of becoming an author automatically implies authority, and I believe also gains respect. And so if we are not talking about what we've created and we're not putting ourselves out there and sharing ourselves in this way, how we, even with the people, we talk about wanting to get quote unquote the world, meaning, okay, you put your book on Amazon and you're wanting all these strangers to go and buy the book. What about the people in your immediate circle? What about those people that are already in your circle, that already know you? And I know when Christine did this exercise, she was blown away by it. She was blown away by the amount of attention it got. I mean, I'm talking about like almost 70 of those comments and so forth came in within the first 24 hours. So what I'm saying is now that and this is why this exercise I feel is so powerful. Once you start to get that level of acknowledgement, that level of validation, that level of encouragement, that level of support, it helps to then embody the identity. So when you're coming at it from that perspective, now it was just you by yourself with your book and you wrote this statement and then you really didn't know what people are going to think about it or say about it. Then you actually do it and then you start getting, like I said, acknowledgement, validation, encouragement. Could you potentially get a naysayer or what the kids might say, a hater or something like that? Sure, always. That's always a possibility. But I would really worry about that far less because that's just a part of also being an entrepreneur online right now. It's just a part of it. And in order for us to really, the focus of the boot camp overall was to get sales. The main goal was to get to your first 1K in sales, whether it was from book sales or whether it was from support products that you made or spin-off products or services that you made, maybe on or around the book. But that was the main focus. I can just say from personal experience, I can't speak for everyone else, but from personal experience, I know that the journey to get to that only happens, or can happen, I shouldn't say only happens, can happen to me much more rapidly if you're willing to get in front of the book, if you're willing to put yourself out there in a way that could feel vulnerable and a little uncomfortable, because we don't know how the world's going to respond to us. But something else that I said also to the boot campers is someone's opinion of us isn't our business. And I know that can be easier said than done, but it really is truth. And the faster that we can embody that and really embrace that and really live it, know it, the faster your success and your result will come. You absolutely cannot accomplish anything in your life if you're sitting around worrying about, if I post this, what if someone says that? What if someone laughs at me? What if someone comes at me with some snide comment? What if someone, who cares? I know, again, that's far easier said than done, but at the end of the day, everybody from Oprah all the way down to, I can't even think who else on the opposite end of that spectrum could be, but they just, I'm not saying they don't care. I'm not saying it doesn't hurt. I'm saying that they don't let that stop them. And again, to me, the secret ingredient to keep those situations from derailing you is the complete embodiment of your identity. When you know who you are, let me take it just one, I'll just kind of move it over a little bit. Let's say that you're not a smoker, you don't smoke, but someone offers you a cigarette. You say, no, thank you, I don't smoke. And they keep pushing it, and they keep pushing it, and they keep pushing it. And you are so resolute in your identity that you are not a smoker. And the fact that this person keeps pushing it and pushing it and pushing it and keeps, addressing it, it can make you potentially angry at them because they keep trying to get you to do something that is not your identity. You know who you are. You know who you are. And I'll say it one more time. You know who you are. When you know who you are, you won't have any problem, even if need be, to go there because you know who you are. When you own your identity, having made this accomplishment, no one can ever tell you any different. Now, will they all, everyone like what you did or even think it's impressive, whatever? Probably not. But so what? You still know who you are. And you have no problem presenting yourself into the world that way. The reason why I wanted to make this particular exercise the foundation of everything else is because until you get that, until you understand that, until you embody that, you will there's a tendency to pull back, to resist, to not, well, I don't want to reach out to that person because, well, I don't really, I'm not a big name person. I don't have a lot of sales. I'm not really, why would they book me on the show? I just have a little book that I just did on Amazon. Why would that group bring me in to come in for a talk or teach a class? I don't know. That's maybe a little bit outside my comfort zone. Everything you want outside your comfort zone. Everything you want outside your comfort zone. And I've been really listening to a lot of motivational related content on YouTube lately. And I'm telling you, that first 1K will come a whole lot quicker when you stop worrying about, are you good enough? Are you ready enough? Do you know enough? Have you accomplished enough? Worrying about what someone else thinks, not taking advantage of this opportunity, not slowing down, resisting, I'm tired, I'll do it tomorrow. All of that stuff connects to identity. If you are not a smoker, going back to that analogy one more time, you know that. Would you get out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and go down to the local convenience store to go buy a pack of cigarettes? If you don't drink coffee, would you actually go out at 4 in the morning, go pick up a can of coffee so you've got coffee in the house in the morning? No, you wouldn't do that. So again, the identity drives everything. You can put together an amazing book with amazing artwork and amazing cover and amazing copy and all this other kind of stuff. But if you don't own that, not the book, but you as the creator of it and everything that can come from it, you will pull back. You will hold back. You will allow anyone and anything to say something to you, and you'll immediately put the brakes on. But when you know who you are and what you're not, nobody can tell you anything. And it will sway you one way or another. So that's the gist of what I wanted to just share with you. Again, I will honestly say that this sort of training, if you will, really kind of just came to me. I was been really doing a lot of work on myself lately, really trying to understand myself. You know, I recently just turned 60 and just doing a lot of evaluation, a lot of journaling, a lot of reflection, introspection, really trying to understand myself up to this point in my life. And again, this word identity just kept coming up. I kept seeing it in multiple places. And I was like, why do I keep saying that word all the time? And I sat with it and journaled about it. And it really, as I was planning the content for the boot camp, because initially my first aim was to do what I've done in the past, which is to talk about the identity of the book. And it just became like a flash moment that said, it's not about the identity of the book, it's about the identity of the author creator. And as soon as I got that, I felt this charge that I went, that's what it is. And that's what I started with. And I feel that it made such a profound shift. So again, if you want to get more of the in-depth training, you want to get the identity statement that I'm flashing here on the screen. Again, I'll put the link inside of the show notes on the podcast, inside of the comments here on the Facebook group. The boot camp is over, but the replays are available. It was called the Profitable Pages 3-day boot camp. And it's basically, I helped you develop a roadmap to your first 1K. So that training is available to you. I've got some additional bonuses that I also gave everyone, because again, this whole conversation ties right into how you show up in your marketing. I gave everyone an idea guide for video reels that they could make or could be used for posts for social media. So again, that's going to require that you step into your new identity or your clear identity to be able to do those things. I gave you all a roadmap and a plan to plan out your month about what you're going to promote, how much you want to make, what actions you need to take, and what to do to move forward to get to that first 1K. And then I'm also doing a Facebook ads training starting next week. I've almost finalized the date. Right now, I'm looking at the 28th or the 29th to do that bonus Facebook ads training. I am actually even planning more with that than I initially thought I was. So it's going to be probably a multi-day training, maybe not all back to back. I think I'm going to space it out a couple of different days. But I will tell you that if at some point, if you want to really start to grow your audience faster, having the skill about understanding how to use Facebook ads is going to be a very valuable skill to have and a resource to have. So I'm really developing some additional training around that I'm going to be announcing very soon. But I'm just saying it all to say is that if you decide to get the replays from the boot camp, get lifetime access to that, plus the bonus training, I'll send you a link to everything that's included with that. And you also get this Facebook ads training, which is going to be probably at least a 2-day experience. It may even end up being a 3, but 2 days with probably a break and then another additional day. And I'm actually working on making that even more. If the whole idea about Facebook ads intimidates you, I would say you have absolutely no reason to be intimidated by it, because what I'm working on right now is really going to make it like a no-brainer for you. So as we're moving into Thanksgiving and moving into Black Friday, I wasn't even thinking about a Black Friday offer, but now this has come up, so I'm doing a Black Friday offer. So again, you can get the replays from the boot camp, as well as the Facebook ads training and all of the bonus materials that's coming with that, for just $33. I would just say this: if you're listening to this on the live stream and Facebook, just raise your hand and say, I'd like the link in the comments, and I'll send you a link to go over and purchase that. Again, it's $33 to be able to get the replays from the boot camp, plus the Facebook ads workshop, plus the additional bonuses. And I'm telling you, what I'm cooking up right now is going to be, it's going to make it a no-brainer for you. I mean, I can't even emphasize how much it's going to be a no-brainer for you. So I would love to have you in that training. There's absolutely no reason why you would not take advantage of this. That much I'm promising you right now. And I don't like to throw, guarantees out or anything like that, but this is something that is just, for the price point and what I'm providing in this, I believe regret not doing this. So I hate to be that strong. But anyway, so let me know and I'll send you the link over to purchase that. With that said, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I recommend listening to this a few times. Seriously, like listen to this 2 or 3 times to really get it. Because if you've been struggling to get yourself going, no matter if it's a book or no, if you've really been on the fence for a long time, you've been struggling a long time to try to get yourself going and staying motivated and in action, and not letting all of this stuff that goes on with us internally and externally to stop us, I really feel like that what I've shared today is going to really be a turning point for you. I really do believe that. And the phrase, physician, heal thyself, every time I talk about this, I'm reminding myself as well. So when they say the student is ready, the teacher appears, I really do believe that. If you resonate with anything that I've said, go back and listen to this. If you know anyone as well that you feel like what I've shared could be of benefit to them, I'd love it if you'd share that episode with them as well. With that said, I'm going to wrap it up here. I really appreciate your support. And thank you for listening. Again, I really appreciate your support. And I also encourage you to share this podcast with anyone that you feel would benefit from the things that I talk about on the show. Again, my focus is around the published author in the artist space, coloring books, planners, journals, but I also am open to speaking with authors in other genres outside of that space as well. So if this is you or someone that you know that would be interested in some of the things that I talk about conceptually as it relates to being an author, creator, publisher, regardless of the book topic, if you feel that what I share and how you resonate with me could be a potential fit, I'd love to speak with you directly. So again, I'll put my contact information also in the show notes as well. Reach out and let's have a conversation, or check out some of my programs. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.